It was
Never a doubt, Mark.
never a doubt.
Never a doubt.
Am
I
I
do have a
supposed to
couple of
believe that?
questions. I do have a couple of questions, kind of
Okay.
piggybacking off that last comment you made. I think it was two callers ago, was talking about Ohio State in 2014. Who was the quarterback for them that year? What was his
Cardell
name?
Jones.
Was he the quarterback at the beginning of the season?
No,
Was he the backup?
he was the backup to the backup.
So he was
Third
the
stringer.
third string,
Yep.
and they still won the national title.
Yes.
Okay. And who's Michigan's best player this year?
Blake Corum, apparently.
Did he play today?
I don't know if he's necessarily the best player, but people think he's the best player. He did not play today.
He didn't play today. Okay. Did Darnell Washington play today?
No,
What about Nolan Smith?
he did not play.
What about the two outside linebackers that got hurt in this game for Georgia? Did they play?
I don't know at what point they left the game. I saw guys laying all over the field in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter for Georgia.
So at some point, Georgia had players that got injured and were no longer able to play.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
Just like Ohio State did.
How many scholarships is
Absolutely.
Ohio State allowed to have?
The same amount as everyone else, 85.
Okay. I don't know a lot about football. That's why I'm asking these questions. It's interesting. You think it would be possible for Georgia to play any worse than they did today?
Absolutely.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Missed 2 field goals.
Their running backs didn't fumble today, and they have a propensity to fumble.
Yeah, but Stetson turned it over.
Yeah, which it's not like he's incapable of turning the ball over.
Oh, he's great at it.
You've got nothing to complain about. Your team is marching on to a national championship.
No, I'm just here to complain about the complainers. That's all.
I also stated a number of times that I believe Georgia, as I have stated the entire season, is the best team in college football. I was just impressed with how well Ohio State played against them because I didn't anticipate them playing quite that well. And I think that they actually, in some respects, outplayed them.
Ohio State?
Ohio State outplayed Georgia.
Oh, I think so too, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Though, like, I do feel like it's kind of fair that Georgia wins one of these games this way. 2017, we were better than Bama.
True.
The overtime deal.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's had, I know every team has, but Georgia's had more than its fair share of heartbreaking losses. It's just some of Georgia's have come in the worst possible moments in the biggest
2012
games imaginable. Yeah, you were talking about how this is the de facto national title game, Georgia and Ohio State. Same argument 2012, with Bama and Georgia.
Yeah.
Brutal losses. So I do feel bad for, number one, I feel bad for that Ohio State field goal kicker. I can't imagine. My son's real big into soccer, and they just finished up the World Cup and all that. We were watching a lot of that, and we were talking about like just the pressure that these goalies must be under when it comes to like penalty kicks, and the players kicking the ball there when it comes down to that. But these field goal kickers that get put in these situations at the end of these massive games, I can't even imagine. And I feel bad for that guy. And I'll admit that I don't know a whole lot about that Ohio State field goal kicker, but I was asking the comment section right before he kicked the kick, is he considered a good kicker or what? And they're mostly saying he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? I mean, I don't know how old he is, 19, 20, 21, or even if 22, whatever. But I just can't imagine being in a situation like that. I mean, I get nervous going live on YouTube in front of 100 people. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't imagine the pressure, and I feel awful. I feel bad for him.
No, it's very classy for you to say that because I know that your crowd delivers, if not more so, crap on the chats than mine do, because during the course of the game it was at various points Georgia's trash, Stetson sucks.
Yeah.
Ryan Day right after the missed kick. I don't know how many people threw out Ryan Day should be immediately fired. It's like, what job do you have where you're scrutinized to that degree, and are you doing as good a job at your career than these individuals are? I guess probably not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really can't even imagine. I had people in my live stream. You remember the first play of the Michigan game?
Yeah. Oh, the game's
It's
over.
over. It's
Yeah.
over.
Yes.
You know that 80-yard run or whatever Donovan Edwards said. Oh, it's over. That's it. Blowout.
There were so many people in the stream during this Georgia Ohio State game that was never out of hand either way. That was, oh yeah, game's over, like in Ohio State's favor. Game's over, game's over, game's over. And then when Georgia comes back and takes a lead, oh, Ohio State, game's over, game's over. Georgia's won. I'm like,
Yeah.
few people watch competitive sports.
Right. Right. And no one's going to talk about it now, but and it is more magnified when it happens at the end of the game, obviously. But Georgia missed 2 field goals.
Yeah,
in this
absolutely.
game,
Sure.
and that guy never misses either.
And he's great. Yeah.
I mean, he's
Seems like
leaving
he's
early
been,
as a junior to go pro, and he'll get drafted.
seems
You
like he's
know,
been kicking for you forever. Because I remember him making the Peach Bowl kick against Cincinnati.
yeah, that was his first year. Yeah, that was his first year because we had Hot Rod up through 19, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a great game though. But and isn't it great? Forget Georgia and Ohio State part of it. Isn't it just great that we got 2 good playoff games that were actually you could watch them in the second half and they were competitive. I mean, that I guess people understand that's so unusual. Most of these playoff games have been unwatchable in the second half, blowouts. 2 great games. I mean, I'm a Georgia fan. I'm not going to apologize for winning, but
No.
I think I'm surprised Kirby Smart said that too in public like that. I wonder if it just kind of slipped out. But I mean, you can't help but kind of come away from that game feeling that way. But it's happened to other teams too. Like I said, it's happened to Georgia. I think Georgia should have beat Alabama in 2017. Anybody with a brain, I think, realizes that Georgia was a better team, and it was just a weird second half with a quarterback switch and a miracle bomb in overtime. It kind of stuff happens. It sucks when it happens in a terminal game. In a win or go home game, it sucks for the fans that happens to, but I'm not going to lie. As a Georgia fan, I'm happy to be on the other side of one of those things. I'll gladly take it. And I do think Georgia and Ohio State were the 2 best teams. It's so funny the way college football works. It's like a circular firing squad or a never-ending circle. There's just no right or wrong answer. 4 best, 4 most deserving. This team would beat that team. Well, yeah, but that team did beat this team. I mean, it's never ending, and that's part of the fun of college football is that there's 130 teams, and there's never going to be a completely objective way to determine the college football champion. There's just with that many teams, it's just impossible to do. There's always going to be a little bit of subjectivity, but I've said this a bunch of times and I'll say it again. As college football fans, we love to say, college football is the greatest sport on earth. And it's, one of the reasons we love it is because it's not the NFL. Well, things like this is one of the reasons why. Alabama not being in the playoffs, whether you want to admit it or not, is one of the reasons why we love college football, for the subjectivity. It gives people like me and you a never-ending string of conversations to have. You know what I mean? We never run out of material. We can always argue, well, this team should have been over that team. This team is better than that team, because we don't ever know for sure, and we never will. The only thing we do know is that Georgia's going back to back. Mark, back-to-back national champions. Wow, there's a new standard in college football, and it's the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia Bulldogs beats Ohio State, and Uncle Lou beat the entire internet today. It was amazing. Mark, I love you. I love your show. Tough loss, and I'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
You're amazing, man. Appreciate
All right,
it.
buddy. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Uncle Lou.